Hello everyone. I wanted to create a series of videos here today kind of describing the sheet seeds that I've set up that we can use for all of our projects. And so we've been using ProjectWise lately, and we have a template set up, and inside that template we've got this plan RD00 border file, and we've also got a dgnlib in the symbology dgnlib folder that has all of our sheet seeds. And what this will allow you to do is create a set of sheet seeds that are project specific. So you could come in here and in this plan RD border set up, like I have, basically all of your information. And so I have several models in here, and we're in the sheet border. I just called this one roadway, so this would be your roadway EOR border. I've got another one for drainage, I've got another one for structures, and so the idea here would be that you would create a different sheet model here for each of your EORs. Now typically, maybe we have one roadway EOR, but we might need a second one, or you can add somebody in here for like signing and pavement marking, signalization. I've just got a few examples in here that can be copied and used going forward. And so basically all we have in this plan RD border is just we've used the FDOT border cell, and we've filled out all of the information in the sheet. What this allows us to do is not have to do it every single time that we create a sheet. This is kind of going back to what we used to do in Geopack days, and we'd have the plan border, and then you'd reference that into all of your sheets. For the longest time that was kind of difficult to do, and there was some hiccups with that, but I kind of figured that all out, and we're able to use this border in conjunction with all of the other sheet seeds that we'll set up. So if you're not familiar, you come up to your FDOT toolbar, and we've got this plan set manager here, and you can edit single sheet, and that'll bring up the edit single sheet here, and you can go ahead and fill out your FPID number. You can fill out your road number and choose your county, and typically I just put that on the middle one. And then in order to fill out the professional engineer of record here, we need to go find an Excel file. And so if we go to, I'm in this King project, and so again, like I said, we're using ProjectWise, and we have ProjectWise Drive set up for this King project that I'm using as my sample here. And so that's important because, as you can see, this tool needs a local location to go look to. I have been told that in future versions of FDOT Connect, such as 23 and 24, this should bring up a ProjectWise window, so you wouldn't necessarily need to use the ProjectWise Drive, but either way, you're trying to get to the location in here, and I usually just save it in my roadway folder. And we've just got, well, there's Professionals King here. So if you open that up, looks like my ProjectWise Drive hasn't synced quite yet with what I just did in ProjectWise Explorer. But what that'll do is give you the option to choose one of these right here. So I can just go ahead and put Mike's name in here and hit OK, and that replaces all of that information. So we've gone over a standard FDOT border, but I think where this is really helpful is when you have borders for like cities and counties that don't necessarily follow these borders. So what I can do is, as an example, I can show you some of the other borders that we've used for cities and counties. So I'm just going to make a copy of this model. So I'll just right click, copy, and we'll just call it sheet border roadway city. Sure. Okay. So I still have my border in here. I got everything in here. What I'll do is I've kind of shown you how I have project-specific cell libraries, project-specific sheet seeds, lots of different things. So you can see there's a project-specific cell library that's getting attached right here because this is inside of my actual project. But I don't necessarily want to use any of these. I need to go actually find another sheet or another cell library that I'm using. So we'll just attach file. And instead of using ProjectWise Explorer, it's faster for me to just get there using ProjectWise Drive. So we'll go into this project I've been working on. And symbology cell. There's my cell library here. And then I still called it 11 by 17 sheet border. That helps you utilize some of the other FDOT tools, which I can go over in another video. But basically all you would do is you would create your cell, sheet cell that you want, and instead of this one, just go ahead and delete and make sure that your cell origin is the edge of the sheet just like it is here. So really all I did to create this cell was started with the FDOT cell and then modified it a little bit to make it look like this City of Port St. Lucie border. You know, it could be any kind of border, any city, county that you need, but that's the great thing about using this plan border cell is, you know, you're able to go ahead and create this your own cell, pop it in here, and now you're good to go utilizing this for all of your sheets. And so this will eventually kind of play into how we set up our sheet seeds. You know, you could use this or something else. We'll pop back in here real quick. And with that, we'll move on to the actual sheet seed file. All right, now I'm here in the sheet seed that we have here, and basically this sheet seed came from the standard FDOT sheet seed that they provided with the 10.12 workspace. And all that I've done is gone ahead and saved it into my symbology folder. So if I navigate into my CAD directory here, I've gone ahead and created, you got this symbology folder, and I have a dgnlib folder inside of here, and that's where I'm able to save this. I just called it project, so it's just a general, you know, when you create the template, that's what it's called. And you have the option of coming in here and changing this. Like we could come change this project to King. Ideally, if that's what I was doing and I just started a project, that's probably what I would do. I would just call it King to match the name of this project right here. But for now, we'll just leave it as project. Really no sense in kind of going through how to change the name of something. So that's where that needs to go. And when you create the template, it'll be here anyway. So you can see once we get in here, I'm just in the default view here, and so we've got a few different views: default 3D, profile, kind of showing some of the borders that have already been placed in here. So if you're not familiar with this file, typically you've just got a dummy alignment in here with a profile on it, and that allows you to create basically create your sheet seeds. And so when you come into your drawing production tools and you do create by name boundary, you don't use any seed at all. And in doing that, that allows you to use this file as your sheet seeds when you create sheets in other files. So I've got the model tab open here. You can see there's various types of sheets that we can create in here. We've got plan over plan, so that would be, you know, double stack plan sheets. You got your profile only, plan over profile, so you're double stacked your plan over the profile. We've got cross sections, double stack profile sheets. So each of these has a drawing model and a sheet model, as you can see here by the models that are present. And just like I was talking about with the name of the file, if I were actually doing this project, if this is a real project, I would probably come in and replace this project with King. But again, you don't have to, because we already have something that says project, that when you come create the when you create your sheets and you choose which seed you want this, you want to be able to see that you're choosing this project specific one. And it's important to note that changing the name of the model does not change what you see when you come select a sheet seed over here. In order to do that, you need to come into, I'm in OpenRoads modeling, drawing production, and if you click this little button here for saved views, you can see all of my saved views are also called project, and that is what it reads when you see that list of drawing seeds that you're able to choose. And we'll get to that when we start creating sheets in the next couple of videos here. That this saved view name is the most important part. That's what you have to change. So you'd come down here and replace project with King. But I'm not going to do that because we already know that these are the ones we are working with. And then one other thing you could do is, if you really wanted to clean this up, you could kind of come in here in the name boundaries and change all of these groups. And I did notice when I was setting this up that it would not let me change the name of the profile or cross-section groups for some reason. Typically all you do to change that is hit properties here. And yeah, see how it's saying the name here. So, you know, let's just take the plan group for example. You just come in here, replace project with King if you wanted to do that. But this really isn't all that important because you really don't see that anyway. And when you create your own sheets, you're going to create your own groups and names of your sheets anyway. So let's just go into the plan only sheet, since that's our most simple sheet probably. And let's get rid of this properties window. So you can see what I have in here. I went ahead and just I didn't check in the file that we just changed, the plan border, so we still have Tacitus Kilgore in here. We've got the reference for our plan border, so we have that, and we've got the reference from the drawing model that was set up when this sheet was created. The other important thing you'll see here is these two cells down here. So some of these are typical FDOT cells. I've made a few changes to this. So we've got two cells here, and if you are using the managed workspace for Consort here, you'll be able to hit cells and bring this over. And in your list, you should be able to see at the bottom, we've got this Consort FDOT cell library that I've set up. And so these two cells are roadway sheet number title. And if you just look at this, it's got sheet title, it's got the number, and it's got the sheet information that gets populated down here. And then the other cell is just the title top and bottom. And the reason that there are two different cells is because when we go look at the plan set manager and edit the single sheet, keeps going on the other screen. So we've got title top and title bottom. That coincides with these two here. The other, what was it called? The other one, the one that was sheet title that sits in here, I use that if my sheet name is just one line long, I'll use that. And then if it's 2 lines long, I'll use the top and bottom. And if I remember correctly, in the FDOT version of this stuff, they have it set up where you could have potentially a 3 stack for your title. So it could be top, middle, and bottom. You could use them all together, but I never really run into a situation where my sheet name is that long. And so mine is set up to use either the top and bottom or the middle, not all 3 at the same time. So if you were to use, and we'll go over this when we actually set up a sheet going forward, But I just wanted you guys to be aware that those are already in here, and this will assist you in naming your sheets going forward. And obviously we've got all sorts of other sheets in here. One thing that I like to do is make sure that I set my nesting depth here to as small as possible. So in this case it's 2. The only time I ever have 3 is for a cross-section sheet, because typically I set up a model motif file and then reference that into my cross-sections, and then that gets referenced into the drawing and then the sheet model, so it just needs an extra line of depth there. So basically all of these things, all of these are set up very similarly. If we go to the plan over plan, you can see that I just put an extra line in here to delineate, hey, this is the plan, this is the profile view. The profile sheet looks very similar to plan only sheet. Plan over profile, that's got the line in here that separates the two cross sections. It's just got the one name boundary in here, and then it will try to put as many as possible in here. This also has this cell up here as well. Typically what I'll do is, before I cut cross sections, I can come into this sheet seed and put the appropriate cell that I want up here. So in this case I was doing some special detour sheets last time I messed around with this, but you could just come in here and say King Street, for example, put that cell up there, and that cell I would save right here. So in my symbology folder, in the King Street cell, and that's where that would be. And I could go in there and change those or create new cells so that I could pop this thing in here. And then lastly, we've got the profile over profile, very similar to what we've seen, just got the line down here. One thing I want to go over before we end this video and move on to the next video of actually creating a sheet is, how would you go about, so let's say I've got some plan sheets I want to create that are going to be assigned to Tacitus, and then I need to create some other plan sheets that are going to be assigned to another EOR. So if you're creating just a singular sheet or whatever, you can continue to use this, and then you could just as easily come into here and go ahead and change the model reference to a different model. You could do that in the sheet that you've created if you've got 1 or 2 sheets, but let's say I'm cutting plan sheets, like 15 plan sheets or 30 cross-section sheets, and I want to use a different EOR. A smart thing to do would be to come into your sheet seed and come in here and do this inside your sheet seed. So let's just say, we'll say for the plan sheets that I'm going to create going forward, we're going to create them with a different EOR. So we will go change that to the drainage EOR. And I click that, and it changes it to Leviticus Cornwall. So that's the other EOR that I have here. There is one more thing you got to be careful of. Let's say you were in a plan sheet, or for whatever reason this plan border wasn't coming in, like let's say this was red, because for whatever reason the reference didn't work and you just needed to delete that reference and reattach it. So let's just do that for an example. So if I delete this and then I go back in, come on, and we reattach our plan border, and we'll just do drainage this time and attach. So you can see my cell stayed there. So now I've attached that. We've got Leviticus Cornwall. You see this little box, this little line with this drawing boundary. Now I will admit I'm not entirely sure what this actually means or does, but what it will do if you don't remove it is basically make it so that this plan RD 00 border doesn't come along when you create a sheet. It doesn't get referenced in, it doesn't show up, which is obviously a problem. So this is one of the things that took me the longest to figure out, is like, why won't this PlanRD border reference in when I use my sheet seed? And all it was this right here. So if you just select it and hit delete, and it says delete, do you want to delete the reference associated with this drawing boundary? Just say no. So now the drawing boundary is gone, but the reference remains. And that will allow this PlanRD 00 border to show up when you use this sheet seed. So that's pretty much all for actually setting up the sheet seed and learning how to use it. Next we'll go on, I'll create the next video basically showing how to set up some various singular sheets, like a general note sheet or a typical section sheet. Those are the most basic sheets that we can create, and in the next video I'll show you how to do that.